They're not weighted keys. These keys that are in the white here are the pentatonics. They're not necessarily the ivories in the key of C, because 7 is a white key in the key of C, 4 is a white key in the key of C, okay? These are pentatonics. When you take this E shape, root 2, 3, 5, now just look at the shape, forget the numbers. Okay, now we look at here, pretend this is root 2, 3, 5, 6, root 2, 3, 5, 6. See, we moved that shape up. We moved this E shape up and we got the fourth. Move the E shape down. Now it's a little harder when you move the E shape down, because we're going to be taking this 3 and putting it down here. So it's going to start with the long shape. Here it is. Here's the long shape, and it's going to go 3, 5, 6, root 2, 3, 5, 6, root 2 warped over for the tuning third. Remember, right? You have your root here, and there's a third there. But everywhere else, it goes root to 4 on the top 2 strings, you know, and root to 4, I can't find it right now, root to 4 on the bottom, and root to 4 on the second string, and root to 4 on the third string, but, you know, it's root to 3 on the fourth string. So you have to warp it over. So that's the 1, 4, 5 blues. Now let's talk about the blues, because that's where, and once you know the scale you want to play, then you can do the note bending. It makes it so much easier to know what you're doing scale wise. We want to get that flatted third and that flatted seventh for free, and we want to identify which is going to be the blues note that we can't get for free. We have to add that in, and that's going to be, in the key of C, it's going to be the flatted fifth. In the key of A, it would be the E flat, because we're going to get the flatted third and the flatted seventh for free when we do the substitutions. So blues in 1, root key of the blues. Root key, not magic key of the blues. Magic key of the blues is going to be 1 whole step below the root key. And let me show you how that goes. So here's our root key, is maybe C. Now we're going to play C7, but we don't have to. Alright, now we're going to play in the magic key, which is the key of B flat, 1 below it. What does that make C? C is the Dorian of B flat. Here's B flat. C is the Dorian of B flat. So you start on that C, and you're going to just continue up the B flat scale. So we start in this C. We're going to call this the 2, and we're going to do a normal diatonic. See, this is good because we can do a diatonic now on it. We don't have to just do a pentatonic substitution for the blues notes, and we'll get those notes. So we've got this C7 here. Okay, that was a Dorian minor. So in other words, yeah, we could do it pentatonically, and this is what most people do. Whoops, they don't do that. I put my pinky on an F there by accident. They usually go, okay, like that. But it jumps a little too far. You want to be able to identify, hey, if you can play a diatonic, you can play it pentatonically, you know, that kind of thing. So we can also play a Mixolydian version of that. This is treating C as a Mixolydian. Now I'm going to take the capo off. So we want to do that C. You can do it anywhere. Just do a C7, 1, 7. Now I'm going to play that C as a Mixolydian. Okay? So I'm going to play a C7 down here, or root 7 of the blues. Whoops. My bad. That was simply a Mixolydian scale. So we can play the Mixolydian, we can play the Ionian root, we can treat the root as a Mixolydian. That means root goes to the fifth now. It becomes the 5. Okay, so, you know, and we're going to be playing the Mixolydian. So we got root 2, 3 here, but we're going to call root the 5th. Oh my goodness. So we're going to actually be playing this scale off the root. 5, 6, 7, root 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, root 2. I messed that little scale up. That was my bad. It should be really, really easy once you know the string shapes. Just add them on top of one another. Yeah. So anyway, let's look at some more notes about the blues. Note 1, the root note, is the Dorian minor of the magic key. Now, we talked about that. We did play that. Remember this up here? How did we do that? We went like this. All right. Now, let's look at what else we got. The minor pentatonic here is not the relative 6. Okay, so when we talk about you can play a minor pentatonic or a Mixolydian, or play a minor version of that key. Dorian works because of the magic blues key. So when people talk about turning a major, let's get F major. Okay, let's look at F major. Now, why can we go? Why does that sound good? Because we're already playing like it as if it was a 5th. So that would be kind of the 4th there. But still, that's what the blues is. A bunch of 7th chords. You know, 1, 4, 5, 7th chords, all 7th chords, right? Kind of thing, right? Now, what it's saying is we wanted to play. Let me think a second. All right, so you'll see a lot of people on and this is how I first learned it a little bit, was okay. In other words, we start on a major 7th chord, but now we're going to play from that as if it was a minor. We're going to do like a 6th minor. We're going to do an Aeolian from there. But the point is, why do an Aeolian pentatonic, which you can do, but if you want to play it diatonically, you got to play a Dorian, because it's the 2nd of the magic key. So it's kind of magic. So we're looking at the Dorian, so you go like. Okay, so watch what happens in the upper strings. Here's the Aeolian. But now watch when we play a Dorian pentatonic. So it's different, and we can also play a Phrygian, but that's not going to sound good. Let's see, that Phrygian minor, 3rd minor pentatonic. Here we go, 3rd minor pentatonic. I don't think so on that Phrygian minor substitution. Okay, so we've got to move along before I miss my appointment. So we're looking at an Aeolian pentatonic or a Dorian diatonic substitution, and that means here minor pentatonic is not the relative. So if we're in the key of root key of the blues is F, we're not talking about that being the sixth. We're talking about making that F the sixth. Okay, so we're going to do the minor starting from, we're going to play over. So we're actually putting two modes on top of one another. And that gives us the flatted third and the flatted seventh for free. Especially, you know, with that, when we do the Mixolydian substitution, gives us the flatted seventh. So remember that. Okay, it's not the relative sixth, second, or third, but it is a minor pentatonic from the major one shape or the Dorian diatonic. Example, C7, play a B flat modal scale. C is the Dorian. Okay, but we don't start that from the B flat. We're going to start it from the C. Now, the blues note, the flatted fifth of the root key, since minor and Mixolydian subs give flatted third and seventh already. And remember one thing, that flatted fifth of that root key becomes the flatted sixth of the magic blues key. So that same blues note becomes the flatted sixth. So you, in the key of B flat, C7, all right, that's the way I can explain it. We have to finish up today or I'm going to be late. So that's pretty much what I got today for this particular chart. It gives you the 1, 4, 5s really nice. I've typed them in. A, fourth of A is the D, and these are the shapes. Remember, to go to the fourth shape, you're just pushing this shape up one, okay, to go. And then of course when these two, when this little brick right here, 3, 5, 6 root, when that goes up one on between the G and the B string, you have to move the pattern up like that, diagonally up like that. So it's the same pattern, just skewed over. Once it reaches this point, it's like water down here, air up here, it goes a little bit over, you know. That's why they call it the warp. And you know, we've got of course 1, 4, 5 relationships to the right and to the left. So if we have, let's say, a C, 3, 4, 5 here, the fifth of C, the fifth of the C right here is the G shape right there, and here's our 3, 4, 5. Okay, when we go over here, no sharing, we have the fifth is the G shape, 6, 7 root right there. Goes over to the fifth. The fourth of the C shape is the E shape. Here's our C shape, 3, 4, 5. The fourth is going to be sitting over here, 7 root 2. That's why we can go over to the fourth. Or we can move the pattern up, move the C pattern up one to get that fourth, which is our E shape. All right. Now it's E shape. It's still the C string shape. These notes don't change, but the white notes are shaped like an E. And then in the fifth, they're shaped like a G pentatonic. G, you know, G cage pentatonic. And then down here we have just our good old stuff here. We have our little 1, 4, 5 regular cage. Here's your 1, 4, 5s here. We have the little diatonic build here with the up and the down of it all. Here's our little diatonic build for short patterns. And for the long patterns is right here. Hey, it's been a really good lesson. I'll have more on the blues. See you next time.